Serious, what is the creepiest or most unexplained thing that's happened to you that you still think about to this day? Was camping alone in a small one-person tent. All snug and secure in the tent, I went to sleep. Was woken by a clap of thunder at 3 a.m., to discover both the inner and outer tent door was wide open. That was freaky. I fell asleep on the couch and got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Once I got there I realized I didn't have to go. I headed towards the bedroom but decided to turn around and go back downstairs to the couch. When I got there I saw my body still asleep curled up on the sofa. I don't remember what happened after, and I know it had to have just been a dream. But, it still freaks me out to this day to think about it. I once caught my neighbor staring at me outside my bedroom window while I was straightening my hair with no trousers on. And I immediately ducked under my window pane as soon as I saw him. He was legit stood in this alleyway that connects the street's back gardens, arms crossed in there for at least 15 more minutes just staring through my window. I even got a picture of it. Pretty sure I was 15. I woke up in the bath at a very specific time, like 5:45, twice. 10 years in between. Water was getting cold, I was naked. No memory of getting there. Some fragments of like seeing my own hand turning on the tap. No drugs or alcohol or even medication involved. The worst thing was the fear. When I woke up I felt an inexplicable, almost primordial, dread. Lasted for hours, I was shaking, couldn't function. Still freaks me out thinking about it. Might have been 3 times, I can't remember properly. I still get the shakes from the memory. Added to add. Oh gosh you guys, thank you so much for the awards. My first. I was deployed to Iraq and we stayed in a former prison in Baghdad. During the night we would see and hear strange things. The base at this time only had soldiers but we would hear children playing from inside the prison. One day we decided to dig deeper to see where the kids were. When we finally found where the noise was coming from we found a room with the ceiling caved in. We didn't find any kids but found kids' books, toys and kids' clothes. Everything looked like it wasn't moved in weeks. We continued to hear the kids in the year we spent there. My cat used to visit me after he passed away. I could see him move in the corner of my eye, just at the edge of my vision. Or I could feel his head pressing against my chin, like he used to. This went on for years, and basically stopped when we moved. I miss him. One of my cats had been missing for a few weeks. I had given her up as gone. While on the phone with a friend 100 miles away, who has never seen my house, he interrupts himself from talking about work and says with a strange urgency, "Doug, open your front door. Your cat is sitting on the porch waiting to come in." And of course upon opening the door, I find her just casually sitting there. We were both beyond blown away. Between sobs of joy I asked, "How did you know?" And he said, "I don't know man." That was really weird. I had a short lucid dream, and the scene happened a few days later. I am 200% sure about that because I keep a diary of my dreams, and it matched perfectly. I woke up for some reason and I heard the hammer of a gun being pulled back in front of my face. I could hear the metal on metal and the creaking and the clicks. I opened my eyes thinking I was about to die and nothing was there. The previous owner of the house had overdosed in the living room and used to deal guns. We found some in the attic. When I was about 10 years old, I had a pretty scary dream. In this dream, my mom drowned in quicksand and my little brother, 7 or 8 at the time, jumped in to save her. In the process, he broke his arm. The next day, my little brother broke his arm. No quicksand involved and my mom was never in danger, but still, I was super freaked out by the fact that I had dreamt about my little brother's injury literally the night before. To this day, when I think about it, it gives me chills. One day I fell asleep on my sofa at noon. Suddenly I heard one of my friend calling through the window, so I tried to get up but for some reason I couldn't move even a bit. I couldn't even call my mom who was in the kitchen. I was trying to move desperately but it felt like someone was just pulling me down. Suddenly I fell down from the sofa. I woke up realizing it was a dream, but even though I didn't actually fall, my body was aching and my head was swollen. You know, on cold days inside your car you can breathe on the window and draw on the glass. I got in my car, and as I look at the windshield I see a few small baby hands. I thought it was strange someone would let a baby play on my car's windshield. I had an urge to touch the baby prints and as I touched it, I wiped away the handprints. The handprints were made from inside of my locked car. This is probably the strangest, creepiest unexplained phenomena that's ever happened to me. I was somewhere around 17 years old. A guy started jerking off next to me on the highway and just kept following me and slowing down next to me and continuing to do it. I was just thinking about it the other day for some reason. It was by definition creepy. When I was in 2nd grade I was getting the mail and when I picked out a letter for me I got a flash of this lady who I had never seen before and I was like, okay, whatever. Turned out it was an image of my 2nd grade teacher before I even met her on the first day of school. wearing the exact clothes I pictured. The letter was a welcome to class letter from her. It was around 3 a.m. and I was on my computer and my mom's buzzed when I was 17. There was a fruit cellar door next to my desk. All of a sudden I hear 3 knocks coming from inside of the fruit cellar door. There was no other entrance to the fruit cellar. I freaked out and ran up the stairs and ran outside, thinking maybe some of my friends were playing a joke on me, but it was the middle of winter and snow was falling and there were no footprints around my house and my mother was fast asleep. I got in my car and drove to my friend's house and moved to my own place shortly thereafter. 20 years later and I still won't go in that buzzing at night. Worked as a tour guide in an old 18th century mansion and lots of unexplained things would happen quite regularly. This one time while I was with some guests in the former ballroom, a little boy asked his mother, "Mommy, why are there children crying upstairs?" Of course nobody else could hear it, but above us would have been the old nursery where 2 young girls died in the 19th century. Nursery was on the 3rd floor and the entire level just had a very strange vibe to it. Still gives me the creeps thinking about it. Not so much supernatural, but there is these 2 pitch black dogs that occasionally run full speed around my yard and I think they might be wild as they just randomly howl from the direction of the swamp that's near my house at night. As for what they look stocky and muscular like a pit bull or boxer, and they have the short hair of a pit bull/boxer, but they are long-legged and they have no fear of humans. Not really noteworthy, but being at my apartment and doing work for school, only to receive a text to be told that my online assignment had 4 wrong answers. Just out of the blue. No contact hit or anything. I began to slightly panic and do virus checks and other safety measures. I saved my files to my cloud queue and reset my computer for safety. To this day I run a VPN and antivirus. For someone to look at what you're doing and to just say something in a text makes second guess how safe you are on the internet. To this day, there was a kid in my class that no one else remembers. I distinctly remember playing with this kid in kindergarten, and we were pretty much inseparable. About a month past Christmas break he disappeared. No one remembered him. Not the teachers, or the others in my class. No one. I even asked the school counselor if he was okay, and she humored me by going through records to see if he'd transferred. She couldn't find a thing. I think about it at least once a month. A few months ago I was sitting on the buzzin' floor with dim light since I'm light sensitive, waiting for the washing machine to finish so I could hang the clothes to dry. I was sitting there quietly doing nothing in dim light for about 5 minutes. When the washing machine had stopped I turned my head to the left and I was almost surprised that no one was there. I had been alone in the buzzin' all along, but it really felt like someone was there. It felt like their presence had just evaporated when I looked over, as if they needed time to materialize, and I interrupted it. Along the riverbank near the town where I grew up, there was a very large abandoned windmill that used to pump water from the river. Kids from the area would gather there at night and hang out near the locked-up structure. As I once described, the creepy part is that on some nights the huge fan blades would just start churning, even though the air was still and the windmill's motion served no purpose. It was weird in the moonlight to see those blades casting eerie shadows as they turned for reasons no one could fathom. Sitting on the back deck one evening with my brother and best friend, just talking, nothing special, no drinks or any other such intoxicants. It is not full dark but close. We are sitting in a circle when out of nowhere 3 light orbs about the size of golf balls float right through our circle and continue on into the trees of the backyard. We all saw them. I, 23F, was at Disney with my family when I was 5 years old. I remember being in this huge auditorium of sorts with tons of people around. I got separated from my parents and a man grabbed my arm strongly and wouldn't let go. He was not trying to be heroic and help a lost child. I genuinely believe he was trying to kidnap me. I kept pulling my arm away as hard as I could and for some reason he let go and I ended up finding my parents. I was so afraid and embarrassed that it took me 15 years to tell them this happened. I think someone or something was watching over me that day and I think about it all the time. I was at a stoplight in rural Michigan late at night. There were no other cars at the intersection. I heard a loud engine-type noise. I looked up above through the windshield and swear I saw a UFO. It was round-shaped and I could see windows at the bottom of the craft. It did have a steady speed and was pretty loud. It was 20 years ago, but now I think it was a small plane, but not really. I dropped a Lego piece under my bed, looked, then never saw it again. One day I was working late, which was unusual for me. I went downstairs to get some food and bumped into a colleague. Was going to say hi but instead said, "What are you doing here? You should go home." Weird. Had no idea why I said that. Turned out his son had tragically died in battle earlier that day and the family was waiting for him to come home so they could break the news to him. I had no idea that this had happened until the next morning. I had my own room as a kid and at night strange things would happen. For example, my closet door would slowly open and things would move around and or fall in the closet. Electrical things would also turn on, including my creepy AF Furby. The blinds in my room would move as if there was a gust of wind, but the windows were closed, and I often felt a strange tugging or pulling on my blankets. Many times these things would all happen at once. One time my hamper just slid quickly several feet across the floor, on carpet. Our dogs would also often just stare at nothing and freak out as if they could see a stranger. I was chilling in a cafe several years ago when someone I had never seen before walked in. He came up to me and asked, "Are you, my first name, my full name?" I said, "Yeah." He nodded and then walked out of the store and I never saw him again. To this day, I don't know who that was and how he knew who I was. Got a call randomly around 9 p.m. and this how it went. Caller, haha. "Hi, this is Mickey Mouse," in a Mickey Mouse voice. Me, okay. Caller still in Mickey Mouse voice, "You're dead," and they hung up. I spent the rest of the night upstairs with the blinds closed, door to my room locked, and a baseball bat at my bedside. Luckily nothing happened.